Jedi were known as the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, but not all Jedi fit that mold or adhered to the ideals of the Order. This didn't necessarily mean they weren't powerful and capable of doing great things, but these Jedi didn't adhere to what it meant to be a true good Jedi. Some made catastrophic errors in judgment, others fell to the dark side, and a few were simply unfit to be Jedi at all. These are the 10 worst Jedi in all of Star Wars. Number 10, Coleman Treber. This dinosaur-looking master was a powerful and wise Jedi of the Verk species. He had a seat on the Jedi Council and was a valued member, but what made Coleman one of the worst Jedi was his own confidence in himself. During the first battle of Geonosis, he jumped into the observation box to confront Dooku, arrest the Sith apprentice, and maybe even duel him if he had to. But what Coleman didn't take into account was that Dooku would be guarded and that the bounty hunter who protected him was one of the most dangerous and ruthless killers in the entire galaxy. Coleman landed only a few meters away from Dooku, drawing his green lightsaber, ready to arrest the Count and end the war before it even started. But before Dooku had even had a chance to reach for his own weapon, Jango Fett's blasters blazed into life, shooting Master Treber multiple times before the Jedi stumbled and fell from the balcony to his death. Despite his undeniable bravery and willingness to do good, Coleman Treber became one of the first Jedi casualties of the entire Clone Wars due to his lack of foresight and plain stupidity. Number 9, Mace Windu. This human Jedi was one of the highest-ranking members of the Jedi Council, and as such, he held the title of Master of the Order in the years leading up to the start of the Clone Wars. Mace was a competent and extremely powerful Jedi that even managed to best Darth Sidious in a lightsaber duel. Yet, despite this, he was also one of the worst Jedi. Firstly, Mace was an arrogant man. He was powerful and he knew it. He wielded influence and sat in a position of authority over other Jedi. And while he never used his power and influence for anything bad, he still liked the ego boost that such a position brought him. It was precisely Mace's arrogance and self-confidence that Yoda saw spreading throughout many of the Jedi in the Order. Secondly, Mace's attitude towards Anakin was one of the factors that pushed Skywalker towards the dark side of the Force and ultimately into becoming Darth Vader. It was clear that Mace didn't particularly like or trust the supposed Chosen One from the moment that Qui-Gon Jinn presented the young boy to him. And even throughout the years of training, Mace never truly warmed to Anakin. If he had been more open, friendly, and accepting with Skywalker, then perhaps the fall of the Order and the revenge of the Sith would never have taken place. This combination of arrogance and an untrusting nature is what makes Mace Windu one of the worst Jedi that other Jedi should have tried to strive not to be. Number 8, Luminara Unduli. What makes this Myralian such a bad Jedi is that she is such a good Jedi. It's almost paradoxical. Luminara is capable of extreme emotional detachment and unfailing trust in the Republic, which, while admirable qualities in a Jedi, are the things that are her undoing. When her Padawan Bareris was trapped under the rubble of a destroyed Geonosis droid factory, Luminara gave up instantly, showing little care or connection. Even rigid Jedi such as Obi-Wan Kenobi would have shown more emotion and attachment during such a traumatic occasion. Worse still, Luminara failed to see Bareris' fall to the dark side coming, highlighting her lack of awareness, but we'll get to Bareris later. Then there's her implied yet unconfirmed connection to the Martez sisters in the Clone Wars Season 7, allowing their parents to die and offering little condolences in the form of, "The Force will be with you." Luminara's unwavering loyalty to the flawed Jedi Code blinded her to the bigger picture. Even in death, she was used as bait by the Empire, symbolizing her insignificance. It was the fact that Luminara embodied the Jedi Order's flaws without questioning them that made her such a good, yet bad, Jedi. Number 7. Ki-Adi-Mundi. This conehead was present when a small group of Jedi, headed by Master Vernestra Rwoh, found out about the dark side user known as Kainir, or the Stranger. He witnessed this warrior using dark side powers and wielding a red lightsaber, yet refused to believe that the Sith were once again a threat to the galaxy. In fact, decades later, when Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi reported their encounter with Darth Maul, Ki-Adi failed to even mention the original incident. Had Ki-Adi brought the Chimere incident to the attention of the Jedi Council when he was given a seat on it, perhaps they would have been more prepared to deal with the re-emergence of the Sith. With that prior knowledge, the Council would have been on much higher alert, and Darth Sidious may never have found the opportunity to rise to power, destroy the Jedi Order, and take over the entire galaxy. Mundi also didn't think Count Dooku was the one behind Padme Amidala's assassination attempts in Attack of the Clones, calling him a political idealist, not a murderer. He was one of the Jedi against Anakin Skywalker being trained, and was one of the hardest accusers of Ahsoka Tano when she was framed for the Jedi Temple's bombing. Then there's the time he ordered the use of flamethrowers against the Geonosians. It's no wonder he's one of the most hated Jedi in the fandom. It's his failure to believe facts, not accept the blatant truth, and deny and conceal clear evidence that makes Ki-Adi-Mundi a pretty bad Jedi. Number 6. Nadar Veb. In a similar way to Mace Windu, Nadar Veb is considered a bad Jedi due to his arrogance, but it was more than just that. He was also impatient and emotionally unstable. Promoted too quickly during the Clone Wars, he lacked the wisdom and restraint needed for knighthood. He openly challenged his former master, Kit Fisto, and rushed into battle with General Grievous, ignoring caution and strategy. Not a great idea when your opponent is a known Jedi killer. Driven by pride and a desire for glory, Nadar embodied the Jedi Order's shift from peacekeepers to soldiers. He saw his master as more of a hindrance than a help, and paid the consequences for that. His recklessness led to his death in a trap that he could have easily avoided. Nadar's downfall highlights both his personal failures and the broader flaws in the Jedi's wartime decisions and declining philosophy. Number 5. Anakin Skywalker. Despite his immense power and potential, Anakin was ultimately a bad Jedi because he consistently failed to embody the core principles of what it was to be a Jedi. From the start, he struggled with attachment, especially to his mother, and later to Padme Amidala, which led to fear, anger, and possessiveness. Rather than confronting these emotions through the Jedi path, he suppressed them until they consumed him and made him an easy target for Darth Sidious. Anakin was impulsive, defiant, and often ignored the Jedi Council's guidance. Believing his strength gave him the right to act independently. His arrogance and need for control made him easy to manipulate, especially by Palpatine, who fueled his fears and doubts. Instead of seeking balance, Anakin sought power to prevent loss, which directly contradicted Jedi teachings. Even his master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, struggled to keep Anakin on the straight and narrow. Skywalker's inability to let go, combined with his growing resentment toward the Jedi Order, ultimately led to his transformation into Darth Vader. Though heroic at times, Anakin never truly embraced what it meant to be a Jedi. Had Qui-Gon Jinn not died at the hands of Darth Maul and been able to train Anakin, his story would have certainly gone differently. Number 4. Osha Anacea. First discovered by Jedi Master Sol on the planet of Brendok, Osha and her twin sister May were both part of a witch clan. But it was their natural strength in the Force that drew a small party of Jedi to them. Osha and her sister were virgins in the Force, conceived through a combination of witch magic and Force intervention. Osha was eventually taken and trained in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, though she abandoned the Order in her teens, walking away from her master and the Force. Years later, Sol sought her out to help track down May, whom she believed to be dead, as she had been killing Jedi. While Osha wasn't willing to help at first, she eventually did. However, she quickly learned that her master had left May for dead on Brendok when they were just children. This shocking truth pushed Osha towards the dark side, and instead of helping, she instead joined forces with a Sith acolyte known only as the Stranger. Osha's abandonment of the Jedi not once, but twice, and her quickness and eagerness to join the dark side are what make her a bad Jedi with a regrettable past. Number 3. The Grand Inquisitor. This Powin was a bad Jedi long before his fall, and he was filled with arrogance, judgment, and a lack of compassion before the dark side took him. As a Jedi Temple guard, he rigidly enforced rules without empathy, showing disdain for others in the Order. He harbored resentment toward the Council and coveted forbidden knowledge in the Jedi archives, reflecting a growing obsession with power. Rather than embracing Jedi ideals of humility and understanding, he grew disillusioned and bitter. His faith in the Jedi crumbled over time, making him easy prey for the dark side. He, like many of the other early Inquisitors, was a terrible Jedi because his fall to the dark side was almost destined, and one of the easiest tasks for Darth Sidious during his rise to power. Number 2. Bareris Offee. Bareris was a bad Jedi not because she lacked skill or intelligence, but because she completely lost faith in the Jedi Order and responded with violence. Disillusioned by the Jedi's role in the Clone Wars, she realized they had become corrupt and hypocritical. However, instead of confronting the Council or seeking a peaceful path to make a positive change, she bombed the Jedi Temple, killing innocent people. Her actions directly contradicted Jedi values of peace, compassion, and justice. Worse, Bareris not only let down her unsuspecting master, Luminara, unduly, but she also framed her close friend, Ahsoka Tano, allowing her to be exiled and nearly killed. Though Bareris was right to be concerned about the Order's decline, her betrayal and resort to terrorism made her fall worse. Bareris became the very thing she claimed to hate, eventually joining the Inquisitorius and showing how bad of a Jedi she had become, and how far she had strayed from her Order's true ideals. Number 1. Pong Krell. Obviously, there's a reason why the Pong Krell subreddit exists. Pong Krell was a bad Jedi because he completely abandoned the Jedi Code in favor of ambition, cruelty, and betrayal. During the Clone Wars, he commanded with brutality, showing no respect for the lives of clone troopers under his leadership. His tactics were needlessly aggressive and resulted in high casualties, revealing a disturbing disregard for life. Secretly, Krell had fallen to the dark side, believing the Jedi were doomed and that aligning with the future Sith Empire would grant him power. He manipulated his own soldiers into fighting each other, staging a deadly battle that turned into a friendly fire massacre. Had he not been killed by his troopers, Krell would more than likely have become Darth Sidious's target to become the Grand Inquisitor. Still, Krell's arrogance, lust for power, and willingness to sacrifice innocence for personal gain made him not just a bad Jedi, but a monstrous traitor to everything the Order stood for. So, there you have it, our picks for the 10 worst Jedi in the Order. Are there any Jedi that we missed? Be sure to let us know by sounding off in the comments.